Silvia Li joins us today on Humanity Moments.
I am really right now focused on helping myself and others around me activate those micro habits of leadership. So it's one thing to say that, we're here to encourage others. It's one thing to say we want to motivate others. We want to ignite those around us. Yet, again, not to knock those principles and ideals, yet I think where the rubber meets the road is in the daily interactions, right? The micro moments, even not even habits, but the micro moments of us coming together into a space with others. And this is why I'm so big on studying conversations, is to go, how can we emit those ideals and the energy of positivity, of encouragement, love, joy, but in those micro moments of when we are in front of somebody. So that's what I've been thinking a lot about. And that's something that, if we can talk more about, we can
Oh,
riff
yeah.
on, I would so love that.
I think that's fantastic because we don't really usually get that granular. And I think it's so important because we may have these foundations of what we believe in, our values, our belief system. But when it comes to those everyday interactions, we need to show up. And you and I had this conversation about showing up,
Yeah,
and so it has to become conscious.
that's
So,
right.
so what does that mean for you when you're talking about these micro moments? Uh, how can we help people? Do you have an idea, a tip for people?
I do. It comes down to choices. And I'll be the first to admit that I probably didn't have the best slate of choices to choose from earlier in my career, in that I only saw what I saw in how leaders led
Mhm.
others, in how others interacted with, their clients, or, their direct reports, or even, their partners at home. So I had a very limited set of available choices from which to select in those moments. So it was almost like I had to expand my perspective to go, how do good leaders show up? How do great sales leaders show up? How do great sellers show up? How do great partners at home show up for others? So I had to even learn, Heather, as well as unlearn some things, but really to fill my vault, my mental cognitive vault, with these different examples and notions. And so that, when I am talking with someone, let's say, in the past, someone would have come to me and, let's say, share a disappointment. The old version of me would have gone straight to, well, yeah, you screwed up. This is what you should have done better. Why didn't you know that? And not to make excuses, but that was the model that I had
Mhm.
available to me. And that was the only model available to me at the time. But since then, I've learned to go, gosh, if someone is down, let's just go back to when I felt down. What did I need at that moment? What did I want? And what could I have used in that moment? And I think that's what I mean by choice, right? Is to go, it's one thing to know an idea cognitively and academically, but it's another when we have an opportunity to impact somebody in the moment of their need, not based on our need. And another thing that I do want to share really quickly is I've been thinking a lot about, am I showing up as the leader that I needed? So even in
Mhm.
that example I just share of going, when I've been down, let's say I lost a big deal, how did that manager or leader show up for me or not? And as I reflect, I go, am I showing up in the way that I would have needed in that moment for somebody else? So those are all things that I've been noodling on and working hard on. Let's
And
say,
that's
pivoting.
that's important to recognize that you've got these different perspectives. I love the filling of the vault, right? Because as we grow, it's an ongoing journey. right? So we're always learning, we're always growing. And
Yeah.
and I'm like you, I'm constantly absorbing from the wisdom of others. Like what you're telling me right now, that's just expanding my mind, right? Because in order for us to have choice, we
Yeah.
need to be able to be aware of the other perspectives
Mhm.
and how we might be able to incorporate them to either give people what we would have wanted, or maybe even ask them what they need in this moment in time,
Mhm.
because that's going to encourage the wellness
Yes.
of the organization, because it's encouraging the wellness of the individual, and that's humanity.
Precisely that.
Yes.
Precisely that. In the early part of my career, again, this is not an excuse, but more of a reflection. I was always so results oriented, so
Yes.
driven to succeed that I really didn't take the time to stop and reflect on,
Mhm.
am I choosing for myself even those things that I am intentional about or want to be more intentional about, that I've committed to, right? Am I of integrity, right? Integrity in the sense of like alignment to even my own vision for what kind of human and leader I want to be.
Oh, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather. I really enjoyed our conversation.
If you enjoyed this week's Humanity Moment, be sure to subscribe. You'll find the link below.